The space around Earth looked different that morning. Captain Jake Morrison floated inside the International Space Station and stared through the window at something that should not be there. A massive ship hung in the darkness between Earth and the moon. It was silver and smooth like nothing humans had ever built. The ship was bigger than any city Jake had ever seen. Jake pushed himself toward the communication panel. His hands shook as he turned on the radio. Other astronauts on the station gathered around him. They all saw the same thing through the windows. Nobody spoke for a long moment. The radio crackled to life. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded strange but spoke perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. We are peaceful visitors from distant stars. We wish to speak with your leaders. We will wait for 7 of your day cycles before making contact." Jake looked at his fellow astronauts. Their faces showed the same mix of fear and wonder that he felt. This was the moment humans had dreamed about for centuries. First contact with aliens was actually happening. Down on Earth, Dr. Lisa Chang was working in her laboratory when her phone rang. She was studying samples from Mars when the call came. The voice on the phone told her to come to the Pentagon immediately. Something about aliens and first contact. Lisa thought it was a joke until she saw the news reports. Every television channel showed the same image. The alien ship floated in space like a silent promise of change. News reporters spoke in excited voices. Scientists gave interviews about what this might mean. People gathered in the streets to stare up at the sky. General Pete Sullivan sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. Military officials from around the world joined the video call. Their faces looked serious and worried. Pete had spent his whole career preparing for wars against other humans. He never thought he would need to plan for contact with aliens. "What do we know about their weapons?" asked one general from China. "Nothing yet," Pete replied. "The ship is too far away for detailed scans. But something that big could carry enough firepower to destroy our planet." President Helen Carter paced back and forth in the Oval Office. Her advisors sat around the table with stacks of papers and tablets. Everyone was talking at once. Some wanted to prepare for war. Others wanted to welcome the aliens with open arms. "Madam President," said her chief of staff, "we need to decide how to respond. The whole world is watching us." Helen stopped pacing and looked out the window. She could see protesters gathering on the White House lawn. Some held signs that said "Welcome aliens," while others said "Defend Earth." The division was already starting. Meanwhile, aboard the alien ship called Serenity's Edge, Ambassador Zethikar studied the humans through his instruments. His species had watched Earth for many years. They saw humans fight wars and destroy their environment. But they also saw humans create art and music and literature. They saw acts of kindness and sacrifice. Zethkar believed humans were ready to join the galactic community. His people had made the same journey thousands of years ago. They had moved from war and violence to peace and cooperation. He thought humans could do the same. "Ambassador," said one of his crew members, "the humans are mobilizing their military forces. Should we be concerned?" Zethkar looked at the data on his screen. Human ships and aircraft were moving around the planet. Weapons were being prepared. But this was normal behavior for a species meeting aliens for the first time. "They are afraid," Zethkar said. "Fear is natural. We will show them they have nothing to fear from us." Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Chang arrived at the Pentagon. She was led through security checkpoints and down long hallways. Finally, she entered a room where General Sullivan and other officials waited. "Dr. Chang," the general said, "we need your expertise. You are our best xenobiologist. We need to understand what we are dealing with." Lisa sat down and looked at the data they had collected. The alien ship used technology beyond human understanding. It had appeared without warning and moved in ways that defied physics. But the message had been peaceful. "General," Lisa said, "everything we have seen suggests they mean no harm. They could have attacked us already if that was their goal. Instead, they gave us warning and time to prepare." Admiral Rick Barnes leaned forward in his chair. He was an older man with gray hair and suspicious eyes. "That could be part of their strategy," he said. "Make us lower our guard before they strike." President Carter decided to address the world. She stood behind a podium with flags from every nation. Cameras broadcast her words to billions of people. "My fellow humans," she began, "today marks a new chapter in our history. We are not alone in the universe. Visitors from the stars have come to Earth. They say they come in peace. We will approach this situation with caution but also with hope." Around the world, people watched and listened. In Moscow, officials met in emergency sessions. In Beijing, military leaders planned defensive strategies. In London, scientists calculated the odds of peaceful contact. Jake Morrison continued to monitor the alien ship from the space station. The massive vessel had not moved since it arrived. It simply waited as promised. Jake wondered what the aliens looked like. He wondered what they wanted from humanity. The 7 days passed slowly. Earth's governments worked together in ways they never had before. Old enemies shared information. Military forces coordinated their movements. For a brief moment, humanity seemed united. Dr. Lisa Chang led a team of scientists in preparing humanity's response. They created messages in mathematics and pictures. They prepared gifts of human art and music. They tried to show the best of what humans could be. But in secret meetings and classified briefings, other plans were being made. Admiral Barnes convinced several world leaders that the aliens might be studying human defenses. He suggested that the 7-day delay was meant to give the aliens time to analyze Earth's military capabilities. As the 7th day arrived, the alien ship began to move. It came closer to Earth, transmitting peaceful messages. Ambassador Zethkar prepared to meet the humans face to face. He carried gifts of technology that could solve many of Earth's problems. But on Earth, finger hovered over weapon systems. Trust and fear battled in human hearts. The stage was set for either humanity's greatest triumph or its most tragic failure. The aliens had come in peace, but they were about to learn that humans were very good at destroying the things they feared most. The alien ship moved closer to Earth like a silver whale swimming through the darkness of space. Ambassador Zethkar stood on the bridge and watched the blue planet grow larger. His heart filled with hope as he prepared to meet these young humans face to face. Captain Jake Morrison received new orders from Earth. He was to serve as the first human to make direct contact with the aliens. Jake felt the weight of history on his shoulders as he prepared the space station for this historic meeting. 3 days into the peaceful talks, everything went wrong. Lieutenant Sam Rodriguez was flying a supply mission to the space station. He carried food and equipment in his small cargo ship. Sam had made this trip dozens of times before. It should have been routine. But as Sam approached the space station, his ship's navigation system failed. Warning lights flashed red across his control panel. The computer screens showed error messages. Sam tried to regain control, but the ship would not respond to his commands. "Control, this is Rodriguez," Sam spoke into his radio. "I have multiple system failures. My ship is not responding." Jake Morrison watched from the space station as Sam's ship drifted off course. The small cargo vessel was heading directly toward the massive alien ship. Jake's blood turned cold as he realized what was about to happen. "Sam, you need to change course now," Jake said into his radio. "You are heading straight for the alien vessel," Sam's voice crackled through the static. "I am trying, Jake. Nothing is working. I cannot control the ship." Aboard the alien vessel, automated defense systems detected the approaching human ship. The computers calculated the trajectory and determined that the small craft would collide with their hull in less than 60 seconds. The defense systems had been programmed to protect the ship from any threats. Zethkar saw the warnings flash on his screens. "Wait," he called to his crew. "Do not engage defenses. The human ship appears to be in distress, but it was too late." The automated systems had already activated. A pulse of electromagnetic energy shot out from the alien ship. The pulse was designed to disable attacking vessels without destroying them. It was meant to be a merciful way to stop threats. The energy wave hit Sam's ship and knocked out all of his remaining systems. His engines died. His life support stopped working. His radio went silent. Sam Rodriguez drifted in space inside a dead ship with no power and no air. "Sam, respond," Jake called again and again. But only silence came back through the radio. On Earth, President Helen Carter was in the middle of a meeting when the news arrived. Her advisors burst into the room with urgent reports. A human pilot was dead, killed by alien weapons. The peaceful first contact had become a tragedy. "How did this happen?" President Carter asked. General Pete Sullivan looked grim as he explained the situation. Lieutenant Rodriguez was on a routine supply mission. His ship malfunctioned and headed toward the alien vessel. They shot him down. Dr. Lisa Chang shook her head. "That cannot be right. The aliens have been peaceful. There must be more to this story." But Admiral Rick Barnes had a different view. "This proves what I have been saying all along. The aliens are hostile. They killed an innocent pilot who posed no real threat to their massive ship." President Carter felt the weight of the world pressing down on her. She had to make a decision that could determine the future of humanity. Trust the aliens and risk more deaths, or prepare for war and possibly start a conflict that could destroy Earth. The news spread around the world within hours. Television cameras showed Sam Rodriguez's silent ship floating in space. News reporters called it an act of war. Angry crowds gathered in major cities demanding revenge against the aliens. Ambassador Zethkar was horrified when he learned what had happened. His ship's defensive systems had killed an innocent human. The pilot had been in distress, not attacking. Zethkar immediately tried to contact Earth's leaders to apologize and explain. "We deeply regret this tragic accident," Zethkar transmitted to Earth. "Our defensive systems activated automatically when they detected an approaching vessel. We did not intend to harm your pilot. We offer our sincere apologies and wish to make amends." The alien ambassador also offered to share advanced medical technology that could prevent similar accidents in the future. He explained that his people had healing devices that could save lives in emergencies. He wanted to honor the memory of Sam Rodriguez by helping other humans, but the damage was already done. Fear and anger swept across Earth like a wildfire. People who had been excited about meeting aliens now demanded protection from them. Politicians who had called for peace now spoke of preparing for war. Dr. Lisa Chang tried to calm the situation. She appeared on television and explained that the aliens' message showed genuine regret. She pointed out that they could have destroyed Sam's ship completely, but chose the least harmful option available to them. "This was clearly an accident," Dr. Chang said to the cameras. "The aliens are offering to help us prevent future tragedies. We should accept their apology and continue working toward peace." But her words were drowned out by louder voices calling for revenge. Admiral Barnes appeared on the same news programs and painted a very different picture of events. "The aliens killed Lieutenant Rodriguez without warning," Barnes said. "They used advanced weapons against an unarmed supply ship. This was an act of aggression, not an accident." President Carter found herself caught between two choices. The scientists and diplomats urged her to continue peaceful talks with the aliens. The military leaders warned her that Earth needed to prepare for possible invasion. Unknown to the public, military forces around the world began moving into position. Nuclear submarines slipped beneath the oceans toward strategic locations. Missile batteries were activated and aimed at the sky. Satellite weapon systems came online for the first time. Colonel Amy Parker received secret orders to position orbital defense platforms around Earth. These weapons had been built in secret over many years. They were designed to protect Earth from asteroid impacts, but they could also be used against alien ships. Jake Morrison tried to serve as a bridge between the two sides. He spoke directly with Ambassador Zethkar and relayed messages to Earth. Jake could see the genuine sadness in the aliens' communications. The ambassador seemed truly sorry about Sam's death. "Ambassador Zethkar wishes to attend a memorial service for Lieutenant Rodriguez." Jake transmitted to Earth. He wants to show respect for the pilot and his family, but even this gesture of goodwill was met with suspicion. Admiral Barnes suggested it might be a trick to get close to Earth's leaders. Some officials worried that the aliens wanted to study human emotional responses to death. Sam Rodriguez's widow, Officer Janet Rodriguez, surprised everyone with her response. She released a statement saying she did not blame the aliens for her husband's death. She believed it was truly an accident and urged world leaders to continue peaceful talks. Sam would want his death to bring humans and aliens together, not drive them apart, Janet said. He always believed in exploring space and meeting new civilizations. Please do not let fear destroy this opportunity. But Janet's brave words were lost in the growing chorus of anger and fear. Public opinion turned against the aliens. Protest marches filled the streets of major cities. Signs demanded that the aliens leave Earth immediately. Ambassador Zethkar watched these developments with growing concern. His own people had faced similar challenges when they first encountered other species. Fear and misunderstanding were common reactions to first contact, but humans seemed more divided than most species he had studied. The Galactic Council had rules about making contact with new civilizations. If a species could not handle peaceful first contact, they were not ready to join the galactic community. Zethkar worried that humans might fail this crucial test. As tensions continued to rise, both sides prepared for the possibility of conflict. The aliens powered up their defensive systems and called for backup ships. The humans activated their most advanced weapons and prepared for war. The death of Sam Rodriguez had changed everything. What began as humanity's greatest opportunity was becoming its greatest threat. Trust was breaking down on both sides, and the path to peace seemed to be disappearing like stars at dawn. Ambassador Zethkar stood before the great window of his ship and watched Earth turning slowly below. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from space, but Zethkar's instruments told a different story. Human military forces were moving like angry ants across the surface. Ships sailed toward strategic positions. Aircraft flew in formation. Weapon systems came online around the globe. "Ambassador," said his science officer, "we are detecting massive military buildup on the planet's surface. Nuclear weapons are being moved to launch positions. Their orbital defense systems are powering up." Zethkar felt sadness fill his heart. This was not how first contact was supposed to happen. His people had hoped to welcome humans into the galactic community. Instead, he was watching them prepare for war against visitors who came in. Peace. Captain Jake Morrison floated in the space station and tried to make sense of the data flowing across his screens. Dr. Lisa Chang had sent him new information about the aliens' technology. The readings were incredible. These beings had mastered energy sources that could power entire planets. They had medical devices that could cure diseases humans had never beaten. They had transportation systems that could carry people to distant stars. "Lisa," Jake spoke into his communication device, "the technology they are offering could change everything. We could solve climate change and world hunger, cure cancer. Why are people so focused on fighting them?" Dr. Chang's voice came back tired and frustrated. "Fear, Jake. People are afraid of what they do not understand. Admiral Barnes has convinced many leaders that the aliens are studying our defenses. He thinks they plan to invade after they learn our weaknesses." Jake shook his head. He had spent hours talking with Ambassador Zethkar. The alien seemed genuinely peaceful and curious about human culture. Zethkar asked questions about human art and music. He wanted to understand how humans created beauty in their short lives. General Pete Sullivan sat in a secure bunker deep underground. Screens around him showed military positions across the planet. Every major nation had forces ready for battle. The unity that humans had shown during the first days of contact was cracking under the pressure of fear. "General," said Colonel Amy Parker through a secure video link, "our orbital weapons are in position. We can strike the alien ship within minutes if needed." Pete stared at the tactical displays. The alien ship was massive and powerful, but it was alone. Human weapons might be primitive compared to alien technology, but humans had thousands of missiles and bombs ready to fire. "Wait for my order," Pete told Colonel Parker. "Do not fire unless I give the direct command." But Pete knew that other nations might not wait for his orders. The Chinese military had positioned their own weapons. The Russians had submarines in attack positions. If anyone fired first, it would start a war that could destroy both species. President Helen Carter faced the most difficult decision of her life. She sat in the Situation Room surrounded by advisors who could not agree on anything. Some urged immediate attack while the aliens were vulnerable. Others begged for continued diplomacy. "Madam President," said her Secretary of Defense, "we have confirmed reports that more alien ships are approaching our solar system. If we wait much longer, we may lose our chance to defend ourselves." Dr. Chang stood up from her chair. "Those ships could be coming to help with peaceful contact. We are assuming the worst about beings who have shown no hostile intent except for one accident." Admiral Barnes slammed his hand on the table. "Accident? They killed one of our pilots with advanced weapons. Now they are calling for reinforcements. This is obviously a planned invasion." President Carter rubbed her temples. She had not slept in 3 days. The weight of humanity's future pressed down on her like a mountain. Whatever she decided would echo through history forever. Meanwhile, Ambassador Zethkar received troubling news from his own people. The Galactic Council was watching events on Earth with growing concern. Other council members questioned whether humans were ready for galactic citizenship. "Zethkar," came the voice of High Counselor Vexta through subspace communication, "your report suggests these humans are more violent than we hoped. Perhaps we should withdraw and quarantine their system for another 1,000 years." Zethkar's heart sank. Quarantine meant that humans would be cut off from the galactic community. They would miss the chance to learn from thousands of other civilizations. They would remain trapped on their dying planet while the rest of the galaxy moved forward. "High Counselor," Zethkar replied, "please give me more time. I believe humans have potential." Their capacity for growth and change is remarkable. They just need guidance. But even as Zethkar spoke these words, his instruments detected new human military movements. Stealth aircraft were approaching his ship's position. Submarine-launched missiles were being prepared for firing. The humans were planning an attack. The breaking point came without warning. Colonel Amy Parker had been monitoring alien communications when she detected what appeared to be attack preparations. Her computers translated alien language patterns and suggested the visitors were preparing to strike Earth's major cities. Amy did not know that her translation software was malfunctioning. The aliens were actually discussing peaceful withdrawal from Earth's orbit to reduce tensions, but the broken translation made their words sound like battle plans. "General Sullivan," Amy radioed urgently. "The aliens are preparing to attack. I am detecting weapons charging and targeting systems activating." Pete's blood ran cold. "Are you certain?" "Positive, sir. We need to strike now before they can launch their assault." Pete made the decision that would change everything. "All units, this is General Sullivan. Execute Operation Guardian Shield." "Repeat, execute Guardian Shield immediately." Around the world, human weapons fired almost simultaneously. Missiles launched from submarines hidden in ocean depths. Orbital platforms released their deadly cargo. Fighter jets screamed through the atmosphere carrying nuclear warheads. Jake Morrison watched in horror from the space station as streams of fire rose from Earth toward the alien ship. "No, no, no," he whispered. "This is not supposed to happen." The alien ship's defensive systems activated instantly. Energy barriers deflected most of the human weapons. Advanced point defense systems destroyed incoming missiles before they could reach the hull. But the sheer number of attacks was overwhelming. Ambassador Zethkar felt his ship shudder under the assault. Emergency alarms wailed throughout the vessel. His crew worked frantically to maintain shields and defensive systems. "Ambassador," shouted his tactical officer, "they are using nuclear weapons. Radiation levels are spiking around our ship." Zethkar's hearts broke as he realized what was happening. The humans had chosen fear over hope. They had decided to destroy the greatest opportunity in their species' history, rather than trust in peace. But what hurt Zethkar most was not the attack itself. It was the realization that humans were attacking something they did not understand, simply because they were afraid. This was exactly the kind of behavior that showed a species was not ready for galactic citizenship. The alien ship's weapons could have destroyed every human military installation within minutes. Their technology was thousands of years ahead of anything humans possessed. But Zethkar gave orders that no human targets were to be harmed. "Defensive actions only," he commanded his crew. "We will not kill these young beings even though they try to kill us." The battle lasted only 20 minutes, but those 20 minutes changed the course of human history. When the smoke cleared and the radiation faded, the alien ship remained unharmed. Human weapons had proven completely ineffective against advanced alien defenses. But the real damage was not to ships or weapons. The real damage was to trust and hope and the possibility of peace between species. Humans had been offered a chance to join a community of advanced civilizations, and they had responded with violence and fear. Dr. Lisa Chang watched the aftermath from her laboratory and wept. She had spent her career dreaming of meeting intelligent aliens. Now that dream was dying in the fires of human paranoia and mistrust. President Carter stood before cameras to address the world, but she could barely find words. How could she explain that humanity had just thrown away its greatest chance for advancement? How could she tell 7 billion people that their leaders had chosen war over wonder? Ambassador Zethkar prepared his final report to the Galactic Council. His words would determine humanity's fate for the next 1,000 years. As he began to write, he felt sadness for these humans who could create such beauty but could not overcome their own fears. The silence after the attack felt heavier than the explosions that came before. Ambassador Zethkar stood on his bridge and watched the last traces of radiation fade around his ship. Human weapons had struck with all their fury and accomplished nothing except revealing their own limitations. But Zethkar felt no satisfaction in this victory, only sadness for what could have been. Captain Jake Morrison's hand shook as he opened a communication channel to the alien ship. He expected anger or threats of retaliation. Instead, he heard Zethkar's familiar voice, calm and patient as always. "Captain Morrison," the alien ambassador said, "I hope you were not harmed in the recent violence." Jake could barely speak. "Ambassador, I am sorry. We are all sorry. That attack was not authorized by all of us. Many humans still want peace. Dr. Lisa Chang sat in her laboratory and stared at readings from the alien ship. Even after being attacked with nuclear weapons, the vessel showed no damage. No radiation leaked from its hull. No systems appeared compromised. The technology gap between humans and aliens was even larger than she had imagined. General Pete Sullivan faced the hardest moment of his military career. He had ordered the attack based on intelligence that proved false. Colonel Amy Parker's translation software had misunderstood alien communications completely. The aliens had been discussing withdrawal, not invasion plans. "Sir," Colonel Parker reported with shame in her voice, "I have reviewed the translation logs. Our computers made critical errors. The aliens were not preparing to attack. They were considering leaving Earth's orbital space to reduce tensions." Pete closed his eyes and felt the weight of his mistake. "How many missiles did we fire at peaceful visitors?" 347 nuclear warheads, sir, plus conventional weapons from 17 nations. President Helen Carter demanded answers from her military advisors. She stood at the head of the conference table while screens around the room showed damage assessments and casualty reports. Somehow the aliens had managed to defend themselves without killing a single human. "Explain to me," President Carter said with ice in her voice, "how we launched a nuclear assault on visitors who came in peace." Admiral Rick Barnes tried to justify the attack. "Madam President, we acted on the best intelligence available. The alien ship was preparing weapon systems." Dr. Chang stood up and activated her own presentation. "Admiral Barnes, I have analyzed the alien ship's energy signatures throughout this entire contact period. Their weapons have never targeted Earth. Their defensive systems only activated when we attacked them." The revelation hit the room like a physical blow. The humans had fired first. They had attacked beings who posed no threat. They had destroyed their own chance for peaceful contact through fear and misunderstanding. But Ambassador Zethkar had an even more shocking revelation to share. He requested permission to address Earth's leaders directly. When President Carter agreed, the alien ambassador appeared on screens around the world through quantum communication technology that humans barely understood. "People of Earth," Zethkar began, "I must tell you something that will be difficult to hear. This entire situation has been a test designed by the Galactic Council." Dr. Chang felt her heart stop. "A test?" Zethkar continued his explanation. "Every species that seeks to join our galactic community must prove they can handle first contact responsibly. We create scenarios to observe how they react to the unknown." Captain Jake Morrison could not believe what he was hearing. "You mean the accident with Lieutenant Rodriguez was planned?" "Yes," Zethkar admitted. "Our defensive systems were programmed to activate when a human ship approached. We needed to see how your species would respond to a tragic misunderstanding. Would you seek peaceful resolution or turn to violence?" President Carter felt betrayal and shame wash over her in equal measures. "You manipulated us. You caused that pilot's death deliberately." Zethkar's voice carried genuine sadness. "We regret the loss of life, but this test has been used for thousands of years. Most species respond with wisdom and restraint. They use tragic accidents as opportunities to build stronger communication and trust." The alien ambassador displayed images on the screens, showing other worlds that had passed the test, species that had faced similar challenges and chosen cooperation over conflict, civilizations that had earned their place in the galactic community through patience and understanding. "But humans have failed this test more completely than any species we have encountered," Zethkar continued. "Instead of uniting against a perceived external threat, you began to fracture. Instead of seeking understanding, you prepared for war. Instead of trusting in peaceful intentions, you chose to attack." Admiral Barnes felt a mixture of relief and shame. Relief that the aliens had never truly been hostile. Shame that humanity had reacted so poorly to what was essentially a graduation exam. General Sullivan stood before his staff and explained the situation. "We attacked peaceful visitors because we were afraid. We let fear override wisdom and chose destruction over communication. The military implications were staggering. Human weapons had proven completely ineffective against alien technology. If the visitors had been truly hostile, Earth would have been defenseless. The attack had demonstrated human aggression while revealing human weakness." Dr. Chang addressed the scientific community through emergency broadcasts. "We have been given the greatest learning opportunity in human history, and we threw it away because we could not control our own fears. But the most devastating part of Zethkar's revelation was still to come. According to Galactic Council protocols, species that failed the contact test were quarantined for 1,000 Earth years. Humanity would be cut off from all alien contact and left to develop in isolation. Your solar system will be surrounded by warning beacons, Zethkar explained. No galactic civilization will be permitted to contact Earth until your species demonstrates that it has evolved beyond its current limitations. The implications hit humanity like a meteor strike. No alien technology to solve climate change, no advanced medicine to cure diseases, no faster-than-light travel to explore the stars. Humanity would remain trapped on its increasingly damaged planet, while the rest of the galaxy moved forward without them. President Carter addressed the world with tears in her eyes. My fellow humans, we have failed not just as nations or governments, but as a species. We were offered membership in a galactic civilization, and we responded with nuclear weapons. Around the world, people began to understand what they had lost. The technology that could have saved their planet and their species was flying away into the darkness of space. Their children and grandchildren would live in a world cut off from the wonders of the galaxy. Jake Morrison made one final plea to Ambassador Zethkar. Is there any chance for redemption? Any way to prove we can change? Zethkar paused before answering. The Council's decision is final, but I will include in my report that some humans showed wisdom and peaceful intentions. Perhaps in 1,000 years, your descendants will be ready for another chance. The alien ship began to move away from Earth orbit. Other alien vessels that had been approaching the solar system changed course and departed. Humanity watched its greatest opportunity disappear into the star-filled darkness. Dr. Chang made a promise to herself as she watched the alien ships leave. Somehow humanity had to learn from this failure. They had to become better than they were. They had to prove that the species capable of creating art and music and literature could also learn to overcome fear and embrace peace. But as the alien ships vanished from human sensors, the task ahead seemed impossible. How could a species that had just attacked peaceful visitors ever prove it was ready for galactic citizenship? How could humanity overcome 1,000 years of expected isolation and growth? The test was over and humanity had failed. Now the real challenge would begin. Dr. Lisa Chang stood before the largest television audience in human history. Every network on Earth carried her signal. Every person with access to communication technology watched and listened. Her words would either doom humanity to 1,000 years of isolation or open a door to redemption. People of Earth, Lisa began, 36 hours ago we learned that our species failed the most important test in human history. We were offered membership in a galactic civilization, and we responded with fear and violence. The aliens are preparing to leave our solar system forever. Around the world, people gathered in homes and public spaces to watch Dr. Chang's broadcast. Many had tears in their eyes as they realized what humanity had lost. The chance to cure diseases, solve climate change, and explore the stars was slipping away because of their leaders' poor choices. But I believe we can still change their minds, Lisa continued. We have perhaps hours before their ships leave our solar system. We must show Ambassador Zethkar and the Galactic Council that humans are capable of growth and redemption. Captain Jake Morrison watched the broadcast from the International Space Station. Through his window, he could see the alien ship moving slowly away from Earth. Its silver hull reflected sunlight like a departing dream. But something stirred in Jake's heart as he listened to Dr. Chang's words. I am calling for every human being to join in the largest peaceful demonstration in our species' history, Lisa announced. Not a protest against the aliens, but a plea for forgiveness and another chance. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media networks that had been filled with anti-alien hatred suddenly flooded with messages of peace and cooperation. Second Chance and Unity for Earth began trending globally within minutes. In Moscow, crowds gathered in Red Square holding signs that read, "We choose peace," in dozens of languages. In Beijing, students organized candlelight vigils calling for the aliens to reconsider. In London, Parliament held an emergency session to formally apologize for humanity's actions. President Helen Carter called an emergency meeting with world leaders. For the first time in decades, every major nation agreed to coordinate their actions. Old enemies put aside their differences to work toward a common goal. We have one chance to save our species' future, President Carter told the assembled leaders. We must act as one people, not as separate nations. General Pete Sullivan made the hardest decision of his military career. He ordered all human weapon systems to power down completely. Nuclear missiles were taken offline. Orbital defense platforms shut down their targeting systems. Military aircraft returned to their bases. "If we want to prove we choose peace," Sullivan announced, "we must be willing to make ourselves completely vulnerable." Admiral Rick Barnes initially resisted the stand-down order. "General, if we disarm completely, we will have no defense if the aliens change their minds about leaving peacefully." "Admiral," Sullivan replied, "if the aliens wanted to destroy us, our weapons could not stop them anyway. Our only defense is proving that we choose trust over fear." The most powerful moment came from an unexpected source. Officer Janet Rodriguez, the widow of the pilot killed in the initial incident, requested permission to address the aliens directly. Her message was broadcast to the alien ship on all frequencies. "Ambassador Zethkar," Janet said, her voice steady despite her tears. "My husband Sam died because of a tragic misunderstanding. I do not blame you or your people for his death. Sam would want his sacrifice to mean something positive for humanity." Janet's words reached hearts around the world. If the widow of the first casualty could forgive and call for peace, what excuse did anyone else have for hatred? "Sam always dreamed of meeting intelligent life from other worlds," Janet continued. "Please do not let fear and misunderstanding destroy that dream for all humans. Give us another chance to prove we can be better than our worst impulses." Captain Jake Morrison organized something unprecedented in space exploration history. Civilian pilots from every nation volunteered to create a peaceful formation around the alien ship. They came in personal aircraft, small planes, and even experimental rockets. "Control," Jake radioed to Earth. "We have over 200 civilian aircraft requesting permission to form a peace flotilla around the alien vessel." The sight was breathtaking. Tiny human aircraft surrounded the massive alien ship like children gathering around a wise teacher. Each pilot broadcast messages of peace and apology. They flew without weapons, offering only their trust and hope. Ambassador Zethkar watched these developments with growing amazement. His own species had taken centuries to overcome their warlike nature, but humans were demonstrating the capacity to change their entire civilization's direction in a matter of hours. "Ambassador," his science officer reported, "we are detecting a massive shift in human behavior patterns. Military forces are standing down worldwide. Protests have turned into peace vigils. Their leaders are issuing formal apologies. On Earth, something unprecedented was happening. Nations that had been enemies for generations began working together. The European Union offered to share technology with former rivals. China and Russia announced joint space programs. The United States opened its research facilities to scientists from every country. Dr. Chang led a team of international scientists in creating a formal response to the Galactic Council. They compiled evidence of humanity's capacity for art, music, literature, and compassion. They showed examples of humans sacrificing themselves to save others, even strangers from different cultures. "We know we failed your test," the scientists wrote, "but we ask you to judge us not just on our worst moments, but on our capacity for growth and change." President Carter addressed the alien ship directly in a message that was broadcast throughout the solar system. "Ambassador Zethkar, we understand that your people have protocols and traditions, but we also believe in redemption and second chances. We are not the same species that attacked you yesterday." The breakthrough came when Ambassador Zethkar received an unexpected communication from the Galactic Council. High Counselor Vexta appeared on his screen with an expression that Zethkar had never seen before. "Zethkar," the High Counselor said, "we have been monitoring events in the human solar system. What we are observing is unprecedented. Never before has a species demonstrated such rapid capacity for change and growth." Other council members appeared on the communication link. Representatives from dozens of advanced civilizations studied the data streaming from Earth. They watched humans voluntarily disarm their weapons. They observed former enemies working together toward common goals. "This level of planetary unity achieved in such a short time is remarkable," said Counselor Thexmore. "Most species take decades or centuries to demonstrate such cooperation." Ambassador Zethkar felt hope returning to his hearts. "High Counselor, I believe these humans deserve another chance. Their capacity for rapid evolution is extraordinary." The Galactic Council reached an unprecedented decision. Instead of quarantine, humanity would receive probationary membership in the galactic community. They would have limited access to alien technology and would be carefully monitored for the next century. If humans can maintain this level of cooperation and peaceful development, High Counselor Vexta announced, they will earn full membership in the galactic civilization. When the news reached Earth, celebrations erupted around the globe. But they were not celebrations of victory. They were celebrations of hope and second chances and the possibility of becoming better than they had been before. Dr. Lisa Chang became Earth's first galactic ambassador. Captain Jake Morrison was chosen to lead the joint human-alien space exploration program. General Sullivan retired from military service and became director of the new Global Peace Initiative. Officer Janet Rodriguez received a special honor from both humans and aliens. She was invited to serve on the first Joint Council overseeing human-alien cooperation. Her husband's death had become a symbol not of division, but of the possibility for understanding between species. Ambassador Zethkar established a permanent diplomatic mission in Earth orbit. His final report to the Galactic Council would be remembered for generations. Today we witness something extraordinary. A species that chose growth over stagnation, unity over division, hope over despair. These humans may surprise us all. The aliens shared limited technology to help Earth address climate change and disease. They offered educational programs to help humans understand their place in the galactic community. Most importantly, they provided hope that humanity could become worthy of the stars. As the sun set on that historic day, children around the world looked up at the sky with wonder instead of fear. They knew that their species had been given a second chance to prove itself worthy of the infinite possibilities that awaited among the stars. The day humans almost destroyed themselves had become the day they chose to become something greater.